Good morning, everyone. Well, you might not know it, but outside of building a porch and a catio, we've been busy as heck. We got a lot of stuff going on. And one of the things that I've been doing is cleaning up the yard. Well, we live in the forest along the river, and a lot of trees fall and a lot of grass grows up and shrubs and all that stuff. And we've done some clearing, and I even cut me a little path through the woods so we can get in there and see the wildlife and see the nature. And anyway, it's just been a busy time. But now that we've got the catio almost done, we've got a couple other things to do. We need to do a little landscaping. And this is the time of year in Florida where it's good to plant some bushes and shrubs. And it just so happens here in Gainesville, the University of Florida is putting on this giant plant sale, and there's also a master gardener here. And so we're looking for local plants, low maintenance plants, something that will attract the butterflies, the birds, and also kind of keep the deer away. So anyway, let's go in and check this out and see what we can find.
All right, I don't know if Curt told you. He probably did, because that place was a freaking whirlwind, but it was awesome. I wish we would have got there a few minutes earlier, because there was another plant we wanted that is a huge bird and butterfly attractor, the firebush, but they were already sold out by the time we got there. But we did get the ones that I've been looking for. They're called, what are they called? Beauty berries. Yeah, beauty berries. And we like them because the birds like their berries a lot.
And another important thing is they also have to be deer resistant, because as you guys probably know by now,
we have deer. And we have very sandy soil with a high pH. So anyway, these are a natural Florida native plant, so that's awesome. They'll fit right in. We won't have to do too much maintenance on it. But they didn't have everything we wanted, so we're going to hit another nursery up the road, and we're trying to beat the big rainstorm that's coming, so let's see how we do.
When we were younger, we used to sit on the grass among the flowers. We just let the days pass by. People would tell us to get a grip of ourselves and get a job. We didn't care what we were told, 'cause when we were younger, we used to sit on the grass and go, damn, I don't wanna grow old. I wish I could turn back time. Stay up all night singing songs on the terrace. We didn't mind sitting out in the cold. It was impossible to make us embarrassed. We were free. Do you remember stealing smokes from your parents? Sometimes we got a bit out of control. When they found out we ran from home just to scare them, we were free. When we were 17. When we got older, we tried to stay in touch, but we had to move on. Life ran away from us.
All right, today's an exciting day. We just got a package in the mail. And, well, let me just start by saying this. For those of you who have followed us for a long time as we traveled throughout the world, 55 countries in our van with our cats, and 2 videos a week on YouTube showing you all the beautiful places that we were able to see. Well, the dash cam was one of our most valuable and critical pieces of gear in the camera bag. Now, we have other cameras that we use, and we use a lot, but when we're driving and we're showing you the roads and the scenes, it's dash cam time. Now that we're not traveling in our van, we're traveling a lot locally here in Florida in our car. And of course, the other day we were driving back and we missed a shot of some beautiful turkeys right on the side of the road. And we went to hit the dash cam and we didn't have one. So thanks to Wolfbox, they sent us the G900 Pro. And I gotta tell you, once I opened the box, I was super excited because right away you can see this beautiful mirror that just clips over your existing mirror. It's a 4K mirror dash cam. It also has a 2.5K rear dash cam. It has a GPS connector, a power supply cable with car charger, a rear cam cable, all the adhesive strips you need to install it, rubber straps so that you can strap the mirror seamlessly and easily around your existing rear view mirror, cable clips, user manual, and it's even got the little tools to stuff the wire up in behind the molding so you don't see that. So today I gotta install this camera. I'm gonna show you guys this camera, and well, we're probably even gonna take it for a little test drive.
The first thing you'll notice is the massive 12-inch touchscreen. It's a 2-in-1 system that acts as your vision defense. It comes with dual cameras, a 4K front-facing lens, and a 2.5K waterproof rear camera. What's really impressive is the sensor. It uses an upgraded IMX678, which basically means you get crystal clear footage during the day, and more importantly, also at night. As we get this wiring tucked in, you can see how easily the system is installed. Whether you're in an SUV or a camper van, this gives you a real-time, high-definition digital stream. You can even use the touchscreen to switch between the front and rear views, or just do a split screen if you want to see everything at once. One feature we're really glad to have is the voice control, because when you're navigating tight back roads or if you're on a busy interstate, you don't want to be fiddling with buttons. You can just tell it to take a picture or lock the video and keep your hands on the wheel. It also has a built-in G sensor, so if there's ever an impact, it automatically locks that footage and protects it so it won't get recorded over in case you need it in the future. And for those of you worried about the tech side, it has a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. That's about 4 times faster than the old 2.4 systems. So downloading clips to your phone via the app is actually quick and painless. We're really impressed with how this Wolfbox dashcam works, and it's going to give us a lot of peace of mind on our next Florida day trip. Plus, we won't miss any exciting footage. So if you're looking to upgrade your own rig, whether it's a van, an RV, or your daily vehicle, we highly recommend checking this out. I've put a link in the description below where you can pick one up for yourself. Go click that link, check out the specs, and let us know what you think. All right, guys, enough of this fancy dash cam stuff. Let's get back to the house because we need to show you an update on the Catio.
All right, guys, we are at a point in the Catio with the Catio where I can take a pause and get some other stuff done. But it has been a big hit. And so if you can see right here, there's a little cat door. So the cats can come out here pretty much anytime they want. And they love to eat the spider plants and the grasses. And so, of course, we have some there. And then we got this little planter off of Amazon. So it was really cheap, like 20 bucks. And we built that. And around that, that creates a little stair system and some lookouts out of the screen. And so you can see Vanna and G are up there. And of course, they've got a long walkway so they can run around and play. And we're probably not completely done. It'll be one of those things that gets added on as we go. But we also told you we went up to the nursery to get some plants. And one of the things that we wanted to do was attract butterflies and hummingbirds and all sorts of birds. We've got a couple bird feeders out there. And we've got a hummingbird feeder here. So we've got a lot of hummingbirds. And we just got a lot of pretty flowers. We got some butterfly weed, and the monarchs have already showed up. We got some beautyberry and some other decorative plants just to kind of help lighten things up. We got some citrus trees, so some lemons, some oranges. And to be honest with you, the drought here in Florida has been so ridiculously bad. You can see the yard, all the grass in the yard is kind of dead. So we've still got a lot of work to do. We got a little bird bath out there, but the cats and we have just been absolutely enjoying this. And the whole goal really was to bring the outside in. And so this is like our new TV here, screened in to keep the bugs away. And here in the forest, bugs are definitely a thing. And the love bugs have showed up in Florida. And so if you guys know what they are, anybody who's ever driven through those, they smash on the hood of your car and create a big mess. But anyway, the bug screen keeps them out, keeps the mosquitoes out and all the other stuff. And the cats can just chill and enjoy, which is exactly what they're doing.
We can chill and enjoy. And guys, it's not done, but Curt has been busting his butt on this thing for weeks. So it's done enough to take a little bit of a break. But I need to get the furniture situated. We got to get the tools cleaned up. We still got to figure out what we're going to do on the ceiling and some touch-up paint, little odds and ends, but all that can wait for a little while. The most important thing is that those guys have their Catio. And Curt told you, it'll keep growing. Well, after Curt got the Catio and the porch buttoned up enough that he could take a few days off from working, we did some relaxing, and it was really cool timing because we had some family come in and visit. First, my baby brother, he popped in, and it happened to be his birthday. He brought his 3 kids with him. We had some good visiting, and we rounded that off with a little birthday cake to celebrate just how old he's starting to get, even though he is my baby brother. Of course, the cats had some good walking time, and then Curt's parents made an impromptu trip down from Oklahoma and popped in, stayed 2 nights here with us. Curt took his dad and toured him around, showed him the trails he's been making in the woods. We shared the birds and the hummingbirds and stuff with him. And of course, Curt and his mom both nights had extended Scrabble matches at the kitchen table. I think Curt might have won both rounds this time, so he's due to get beat next time they get together for a Scrabble game. But it was lots of good visiting and just some relaxing, which we needed because Curt had been working so hard. And then we made a few trips to town, had some dinner at the local little restaurants, just kind of getting to know our new home. And then as that was all starting to wind down, I got a call from a really good friend of mine. And you all know that from your past, you have some of these friends that are more like family. We were in our college ages together, and he just is one of my lifelong best friends. I don't believe you guys have ever met him on the channel because I have not seen Nick in almost 7 years, since before we moved into the van. And he called and said he was going to be just up the road at a cool little event that Curt's going to tell you more about. But when I found out he was going to be that close, we hopped in the car and we headed that way.
Now, the event that Snow was telling you about where we were to meet Nick was advertised as a rodeo. And it was a charity event for the local 4-H club. And you know, we really didn't know what to expect. To be honest with you, we were really going to catch up with Nick. He's a fun guy, a cool guy, and a lifelong dear friend of Snow, so we were excited to go do that. He's also an extremely gracious host. Since this was his nephew's place, he gave us the VIP tour. And it started with sort of like a little exotic animal tour. And to be honest with you, I may have offended Nick because, and I didn't mean to, but as we went through and saw some of these beautiful animals, Snow and I would comment. For example, when we saw the otters, we were like, we saw the giant otters in Brazil in the Pantanal where the jaguars are and the giant caiman and the capybaras. And anyway, he's like, are you gonna say this during all the animals? And we moved on to the next one, which was a cool camel. Now, I think it kind of slobbered on snow a little bit, maybe even spit, but that's okay. It was all in fun. But we saw the camels in Mauritania. We also saw them in southern Morocco in Africa. And so we had seen the camels in the wild. And then we went on and saw the sloths. And if you guys know us, you know we love sloths and monkeys and all that sort of stuff. And well, lo and behold, we had seen the sloths in Costa Rica, well, and in other countries, Nicaragua, in several countries actually in Central America. We saw sloths again in the wild. We saw this sloth carrying a baby and crawling slow across the road and in Costa Rica, and it was so cool. But I gotta tell you, seeing this sloth up close here, it was in a tree, it was so cool. You could see his cute little face and his little paws, and it was really, really cool. I think they had a macaw there, and again, we had a special experience with the macaws in Costa Rica as well, but we saw a lot of different macaws again in the wild throughout our journey in Latin America. And you guys know we love chasing birds, so for us it was kind of a treat. But as Nick was showing us around and explaining to the animals, it was kind of overshadowed by the fact that we had already seen them and researched them. But there was definitely some animals there that we had not seen. There was sort of an exotic deer. Now this deer, I don't remember exactly what kind it was, but this deer or this antelope we had not seen. Now when we were doing the safaris in Africa, wow, I bet we've seen at least a dozen or more different types of antelope. And of course, we had some magical experiences in Africa on safari, self-driving in our van, looking out the window with the big cameras, and that was really special. But it was cool to see this other type of antelope, and I believe this one was from Southeast Asia, so that hence we hadn't seen that one. And then, well, there was just a lot of different animals. And actually, Nick took us back and they had, I think, some eland and some other big antelope back on a safari ride. Now, the safari ride was not going on today, so we didn't go on that. It was going on, it goes for special occasions, or I think actually most of the time, but the rodeo was the main show. So there was a lot of different animals to see that we didn't even get to see. But I tell you what, it was a really special time catching up with Nick, exchanging stories, talking about some of our experiences, and as well talking about his and learning about the local animals. Oh, and there was one more animal that we did not see while we were out touring the world, and that was the kangaroos. And that was also a special moment. Snow got to hold the kangaroo, the baby kangaroo, and we got to take photos, and we got to hang out with Nick, and it was just a really special moment. You can hold it.
What is this one gonna do?
Yeah.
Hi, Jack.
Jack, jumping Jack, Flash, jumping
Jack.
Jack.
When you get big, you could probably knock us all out, huh? Oh, he's soft. Is it a he? A Jack, it's a he.
It's a he.
Yeah. Look at those little fingers. You are precious. Yes, you are. Look at that. Look at his toes. You're pretty chilled out. How old are you?
He's probably 6 months.
Oh. And as we started to leave the, I'm going to call it the petting zoo portion of this place, we walk over towards where all the vendors are set up for the rodeo crowd. I think Curt should ride the bull. What do y'all think? Start putting some comments down there below. Tell him he needs to get on that bull. I don't think we've told you This place is called the Mayhem Ranch. It's in Morriston, which is basically Williston, and to make that even more easy to understand, it's probably about 30 to 40 minutes away from Gainesville and or Ocala here in North Florida. They've been around for, I don't know, I think Nick said 5 or 6 years or so, and have just been growing and growing along the way. They hold different kind of festivals throughout the year, so this is just one of their events. But they've brought in lots of vendors, and this, I think Curt told you, all benefits the 4-H. And we were hungry, so we headed straight to the food area, where there were lots of tables set up. They were serving delicious barbecue and some yummy frozen lemonade drinks. The kids were playing. There was a band playing. It was just a ton of fun. And this is where we got to meet Nick's nephew, who owns this place, along with his wife. Now, whether or not he remembers it, I have met this kid before when he was probably maybe 7 or 8 years old. So when I tell you me and Nick go way back, we go way back because he is a full-grown adult now with a really cool ranch here. But we enjoyed our lunch. They were gracious hosts, wouldn't let us pay for anything. Don't worry, we put a bunch of money in the 4-H tip jar, so we did pay at least for the charity portion. But then it was time to head over and check out the goats. Now, there were some baby goats doing some jumping around, some big goats, and they definitely think you're bringing food when you come. But one thing I've noticed about this place is it seems to be a wonderful place set up for children. They even have a little gold mining station where they'll bring in kids like on field trips and stuff and teach them about that kind of thing and let them see all the animals. They've done a really nice job here, and it is a public place, so you can go to their website, which we'll put down in the description, and you can go visit this place. And if you have kids, younger ones, I would say this would be a really cool place to bring them. But after that, we headed over for the main attraction, which is the rodeo. Now, I grew up here in this part of Florida, which is pretty rural and pretty country. So I've been to many rodeos in my younger years, but it has been a while. And it's hot, so I'm very thankful that Nick had us set up in the fancy VIP booth under the tent here in the shade. But Curt went over and took a little tour of the bucking chutes. So let's see how that goes.
All right, there's nobody on the bull. Snow has decided she's gonna go for a ride.
Don't know better than that. Don't know better than that. In my younger years, I have done that. Y'all will never see any proof.
Oh, look, you need to get one of these shirts. So, on the way over to the rodeo. Now, I got to be completely honest with you. We are not big rodeo people. We were there to see Nick, and this was a special event that's going on that doesn't normally happen at the Mayhem Ranch. But they had all sorts of trinket stalls where you could get different local type souvenirs, and that was pretty cool. They had a good selection. They had a couple drink stands, and they had a miniature little furry cow display. And so we got to go in there. I think they're like Scottish Highland cows, but they're miniature, so they're so tiny and they're so cute. Snow got to go in there and sit next to those, and Nick came in with us. And anyway, that was also very cool, and a stark contrast to these big giant bulls next door. Now, I was able to go on a special VIP tour, and the cowboy over the rodeo gave us all sorts of information behind the scenes on how they prepare the bulls for the event, and also they had bucking broncos there. And so I got to see all those up super close, and they were just big muscular beasts, and it was just impressive to see. And then all of a sudden all the cowboys came in and started getting ready for the show. Now, this was more than just bucking broncos and bucking bulls. They had a beautiful opening ceremony with the cowboys and the flags and the music and the national anthem, and that was a really cool moment. And then the show started. And being that we were in the VIP section, I got to walk up close to see the guys as they sat in the chutes and started mounting the bulls. And those guys were angry. And as soon as the chute opens up, they kicked out. And of course, for those of you who don't know, the bull riders have to ride the bull for 8 seconds and then they get scored. And anyway, we watched that. We're fascinated by that. We also saw the horses, and one little treat as we were saying goodbye to Nick is the little kids got to do the mutton riding. And so it was really funny because these kids would jump on these lambs and they would be riding them, I think most of them backwards. And so they just like grappled onto these big old sheep, and the sheep would take off running. And again, it was a contest to see how long they could hold on, and just really a family fun time. And we enjoyed the day. We enjoyed catching up with Nick. And as Snow said, it was a hot day, but there was plenty of refreshments. But we were tuckered out, and it was definitely time to go home.
I know last week we were talking to you about our brand new series, the Florida Day Trips. And don't worry, next Saturday we're bringing you episode 2 of Florida Day Trips. This was just kind of a wrapping up the Catio and getting y'all caught up on all the life events we have going on. And with that, we're going to take a sneak peek out the back door here. The front porch, the Catio may be done, but Curt had to do a little bit of work on the stairs coming in by back here where we park. So he's hard at it again. And we will see y'all next Saturday with Florida Day Trip number 2 from somewhere really, really cool. Cheers, guys. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!